barged into the room with wild abandon.
You enter your secret chamber. It's a dark alcove you use to store a few modest valuables, and duck into whenever you're on a case and things start to get too hot to handle. Which is never.
Check out the paper on the floor.
Fuck off, asshole.
It appears to be a note delivered to you from a stick. It smells a little bit like pee. Oh, you hate him so much. You stash the unpleasant note in your inventory.
Play a haunting tuba refrain.
Oh, you can't do it. That tube is filthy.
Check out the paper on the wall.
It's another business card for an intriguing trade. Some of these services sound really exotic.
Put the card in your inventory. Get in the dummy elevator.
You climb into the elevator, sometimes called a dumbwaiter. It's pitch black inside. There's only one direction to go.
Go down.
The dumbwaiter goes down. A little bit. And then stops. This is as far as it goes. The interior is somewhat illuminated from light coming in through a slit on the wall you're facing. It looks like you can slip objects through it, as long as they're narrow enough.
Peep through the slit.
It's hard to see anything through it, but you hear a voice again.
Listen.
It's A Stick's office again. He's still on the phone and sounds really surly. He seems quite upset about a mix-up involving large stone busts, instead of some other service he believed he was getting. He seems to be wondering if he has the right business card.
Feed your Busts Are Us card through the slot.
You deposit into the slot the Busts Are Us card.
But pee on the card beforehand.
A little too late. You realise you should have peed on the card to stick it to Ace. You decide to pee on it anyway. A-Stick picks up the card and puts it in his inventory. He considers the card carefully. He calls the number, hoping this one will bring satisfaction. After a little while, some whores show up. It looks like Ace got the better of you once again.
Take a swig from your flask of whiskey.
Feelings of dejection overwhelm you. You're tired of being shown up by a rival. He gets everything. All the good cases, the women, the ability to open his office door. You'd wager he even enjoys the lion's share of the candy corn. You down a stiff belt from your glass of whiskey. You experience a boost in your imagination.
Clean the horns.
Suddenly, you are entirely dissatisfied with the condition of these horns. It is an absolute disgrace. You won't stand for it. You set about polishing the instruments, but it seems your imagination is too high to conduct normal day-to-day activities. You topple some of the horns. The clarinet breaks. If only there were a place that could serve as a proper outlet for such a high degree of imagination until the condition passed.
Back to the old fort.
In your heightened state of imagination, you fall down the stairs. You'd better get to the safety of a fort. Fast! You're no good to anyone out here.
Hurry.
You feel safe and sound in the cozy confines of your wobbly particle board walls.
Drift into a realm of make-believe.
You stand in your imaginary office. With the mind, anything is possible. Your imaginary phone is ringing.
Answer the imaginary phone.
You answer the phone, in the best Depression-era fast-talking way possible. On the other line is a hysterical dame. You tell her to calm down and give you the skinny on what all the hubbub's about. Her answers are vague and one-dimensional. This case is quickly going nowhere. Turns out your imagination sucks.
Eat the steak dinners with your hands.
The steak dinners have been sitting around for a while. They're both spoiled.
Gorge yourself on imaginary candy corn.
They don't taste as good as real candy corn. Nevertheless, it gives your paltitude a small boost.
Try to take the imaginary gun back into the real world.
You pick up the gun. You'd like to bring it back with you, but you can't fathom how that's possible.
Stride confidently through your office door.
You exit your office, into the hallway.
Go harass Ace Dick.
You burst through Ace Dick's imaginary door, rolling up your non-existent sleeves. But he's nowhere to be found. His imaginary room is empty, most likely because Ace is currently not using his imagination.
Leave the room.
You exit, but not before you leave an imaginary present on the floor. You are now facing south in the hallway.
Enter the PI room.
You hear noises behind the door. It sounds like swing music, and riotous times being had. Whoever's in this office probably has a terrific imagination. But the door is locked.
Follow the exit sign.
You feel your imagination beginning to fade, so you hurry downstairs to the imaginary street. You find your motley collection of items, which you earlier threw out the window in a fit of rage, stupidity, or both.
Look up at your office window.
You see a familiar face through the window. A friendly face. Your imagination wears off. You experience the lingering effects of your imagination. The stat remains at the same level, but no longer affords you its advantages. However, you remain just as useless in the real world. You're gonna need to figure out a way to sober up. Fast.
Chug coffee with no regard for temperature.
You drink the coffee, which is lukewarm. It's foul, bitter, and ridiculously strong. You can only drink a little bit of it. Your imagination is reduced, while your vim enjoys a healthy boost. You feel terrific now, fit as a fiddle, and bristling with coordination. 2 pieces of candy corn fall onto the floor.
Get the candy corn.
You put the candy corn in your hat. The phone is ringing again.
Go check it out.
Your phone is now missing 3 components, making it that much more difficult to answer this call from an undoubtedly hysterical Dane. If only you could think of a way to reel in objects from the weird window mindspace universe.
Flip the window upside down and shake it to retrieve the phone.
You try to shake your belongings from the blasted portal. It appears to run on Etch-a-Sketch technology.
Make a lasso out of tape and pull the phone back in.
You use the magnetic tape to form a lasso. Maybe you can reel in your belongings this way. However, you think the tape lasso is too light and flimsy to throw out the window with any significant distance or accuracy. You'll need something to weigh it down.
Cut to the chase and use a cinder block.
You tie the tape to the cinder block, using it as an anchor.
Throw it out the window. Examine the mural for hidden clues.
It looks like there are 2 holes in the mural. They're spaced far apart, just wide enough for someone with sensible human anatomy to look through with both eyes.
Look through them.
You unplug the window again and have a gander.
Problem Sleuth is impolite.
It's an unpleasant note. You can tell using your depth perception that the note is very close, only a few inches from your face.
Poke the curtain rod at the note.
A painting of an elf jostles on the other side. It falls to reveal a safe. The safe pops open, revealing a painting of an elf.
Look through the elf holes.
It is the office of yet another one of your competitors, Pickle Inspector. He looks dazed, as if he's been trapped in his office for some time. There are strange glass containers in the corner. You wonder if there might be a business card, worded professionally of course, for a glassblower somewhere in his office. Perhaps taped to something, like a cinder block or the back of an elf painting. His office is dark for some reason. You suddenly hear noises coming from Ace Dick's office. You figure as long as your office is dark, you may as well check on him through the clown holes.
Take a look.
The horse tied Ace Dick up in a chair and stole his phone. The Huggy Bear bust is cracked open, and the treasure which is undoubtedly stashed inside has been stolen too. He was probably tortured for the information.
Rejoice!
You celebrate by mustering one of the silliest dances you've attempted in hours. Ace Dick hears your shenanigans from the other side. He seems to be pleading for a way to cut the rope.
Try to get the hutch bust's attention.
You can't imagine how you can get a statue's attention. You begin to covet the hutch bust, and whatever secrets it guards.
Climb down the tape to retrieve your things.
The reel's way too weak to hold your weight. It'll probably only be able to support and reel in lighter objects.
Activate the reel to reel.
The reel begins to turn, pulling the tape taut. The cinder block below does not budge. If a tape is retied to a lighter object, it'll likely be pulled in through the window automatically.
Give Ace a piece of glass to cut the rope.
You go into the back room, and down the elevator.
Slip the glass through the slot.
Ace receives the shard of glass. He uses it to cut himself free.
You are now Ace Dick. You begin to question this feud you've been embroiled in with your neighbor for so long. After all, he did just give you the number to some honest-to-God whores, even if they did ultimately rob you. He also just helped you escape. Maybe it's time to bury the hatchet and help him out of his office. You feel like you should get some supplies from your safe first, though. If only you could remember the combination.
Check behind the paper stuck to the door for the combo.
You can't pull it off. It's stuck fast. Maybe a heavy object will knock it loose.
Throw the hutch bust at it.
Using your extraordinary strength due to your unusually high vim characteristic, you lift the bust easily.
Throw.
You send the Owen Wilson paperwood. The bust crashed through the window, knocking out an employee of Madame Mural. He was wheeling a portable scaffold into place to prepare for some mural work. It looks like he's in bad shape now. The hutch had cracked open, exposing riches. Looks like one of the whores may have taken Starsky's sunglasses. The scaffold continues rolling, coming to a stop in front of your door and jamming it shut.
Next.
You are now trapped in your office too. You and Problem Sleuth will have to work together if you want to escape.
Ace Dick, reach through the window and move the scaffolding out of the way.
The scaffolding is jammed in place. It seems the brake for the wheels was triggered after it came to a stop. You can't push it away either. The top just bumps up against the ceiling. There's no climbing out of the window with your portly frame because of the scaffold bars. Unless someone comes to help you, or you find a blowtorch to melt through the bars, you're probably not getting out of this office anytime soon. Nice try, though.
Okay, forget it then. Ace Dick, pick up the Tommy gun.
I beg your pardon?
Ace Dick, get the phone pieces sitting around.
You put the phone parts in your inventory.
Slip Problem Sleuth his phone parts.
You slip the phone parts through the slot to an awaiting Problem Sleuth. But he's not waiting for them in the dumbwaiter. The phone parts fall somewhere into the dark shaft below. Nice work, bonehead McFuckup.
Ace Dick, look inside the Huggy Bear statue for riches.
There's a hammer in the broken Snoop Dogg bust. You place the hammer in your inventory.
Problem Sleuth, climb halfway out the window, then unplug the window.
The window loses its extra-dimensional portal properties and severs you midway through. You are dead.
No, wait. Don't do that.
You're not sure what you were thinking.
Check behind the clown poster.
Behind the poster is another clown, drawn directly on the metal. Under the paper is a long game code. This is probably a code you can use to return to a particular state in this game. You put it in your inventory.
A stick. Pounce on the keys before they disappear.
You pick up the ring of keys.
Okay, cool.
Armed with your Tommy gun, you are one hard-boiled lug. Nobody mess around with this tough guy, see?
Problem, Sleuth? Go into the dumbwaiter so you can receive an item.
You go down the dumbwaiter. A stick tries to give you an item, but the hammer is too big to fit into the slot. Ace gives you all his business cards instead. In return, you hand him your collection of unpleasant notes.
A stick, examine the notes.
Oh, you recognize both of these notes. You wrote and delivered them to your neighbor to get his goat. One of them has something on the back. He wrote a rebuttal on the other side and taped it to the back of his fake safe for your viewing pleasure. Luckily, the combination to the safe is on this paper. You carelessly composed your note on this document without noticing.
Use it to open the safe.
You enter the combination. The smaller compartment opens up to reveal 3 old-fashioned keyholes.
Go look through the pig painting to see what problem Sleuth is up to.
You have to unplug your large panoramic window from its portable generator first.
Unplug the window. Look through the holes.
Candy corn vampire.
Ah!
You topple backwards onto your particle board desk. It was supported by a couple of smaller busts, including one of your favorites, Snoop Dogg from Soul Plane.
Throw Snoop Dogg through the big window portal.
Huh. First you organize all the particle board into a neat pile to reduce clutter. You ready the Snoop Dogg for throwing.
Throw.
The bust crumbles onto the rigid surface of the unplugged window. There's just no break in the plane unless it's plugged in. Amidst the rubble is a couple pieces of candy corn and a small key.
Examine the cruet next to the Snoop Dogg bust.
First you plug the window back in so you stop stubbing your toe on things. Stubbing your toe is known to be brutal on your pulchritude stat. You pick up the cruet of brandy.
Examine the rope.
You pick up the rope.
Use your Tommy gun on the safe keyholes.
You use your ring of keys to unlock the keyholes on the safe. The ring of keys blows a hole in the safe. The safe is open.
Throw the hammer through the window.
Now that the window is plugged in, you may effectively vent your rage with a heavy object. The hammer shatters the glass and falls to the street far below your penthouse office suite.
A stick, get some candy corn in preparation of your own vampire act.
You pick up the candy corn and small key.
Problem, Sleuth? Look through the clown picture at Ace. A stick, candy corn vampire.
A stick ate the candy corn. He is an unimaginative louse and an all-around wet blanket.
You enjoy a small boost in pulchritude from the candy. Your modest pulchritude gauge is now maxed out. You inadvertently swallow the small key along with the candy corn. It is now stored safely in your stomach.
Build a fort.
You figure it's time to do something constructive for a change. Your stout bunker of particle board is a smashing success. The Zoolander chimney is the jewel in its crown.
See what you have stashed in the safe.
You can't reach the opening. You would stand on the chair, but you don't think it's quite high enough. Besides, it's now built into your fort, and there's obviously no going back.
Throw the fort out the window.
That's the stupidest idea you've ever had.
Use the bus stand as a step to access the safe.
By stacking 2 bus stands, you can easily reach the safe opening.